这样可以吧？可以开始没有？嗯，你可以调试一下。我刚刚摁开。可以吗？有到声音吗？好的，那我们进行下一个环节。首先，在开始之前我给大家介绍一下我们一些原材料的
Now,
一个。
first I introduce to you some raw material, and this is a Chinese cooking wine. We better have it, but if we don't prepare it, it's okay.
嗯，然后的话，我们这个酒的话呢，主要是用那个铁观音的茶来酒。
We mainly use this wine to soak the 铁观音, and in this soaking progress, we need a long time to maintain the 铁观音 scent. This is a good way to take out the scent of 铁观音. When we cooking other tea leaves, this way is okay, suitable for every tea to take out their scent. We can ob observe its color, and this wine we have soaking 铁观音 for 1 week. This is golden color. It has strong scent. Firstly, we introduce the raw material, and this is chicken legs. We choose the whole chicken leg. And we can use the small leg chicken is okay. Just use chicken meat. When we cooking this dish, I recommend that we maintain its skin. But if we have the oil of the skin, the meat will be more fragrant. And we will use the white pepper. This is the ginger. It's all the ginger because it has strong scent. And special introduce this Chinese pepper. Its origin is Henan province. It is fragrant but a little spicy taste. Because our dish, we need to cook the lower spicy dish, so this pepper is perfect. And this is 铁观音 tea leaves. And if you put it to the planted, it will create some sounds. Because the tea leaf is heavy. It's a kind of heavy tea. So we call it iron 铁观 iron 铁观音 tea because it's like a little iron. If other common tea leaves, when we pour it into the plant, it won't create ding ding dang dang sounds. But if you use 铁观音, it will has bigger sounds. Now, first step, soak the 铁观音 tea leaves. And pour the lower temperature water. Now we soak the 铁观音. Now we let the tea leaves to absorb the water. So if we use the hot water, the nutrition substance will lose into the water. But now we cook the dish that mainly use the tea leaves, so we use the luke water. Now we add some seasoning material. Now cut the garlic into the small pieces. Cut it into slices, and we can get the enough flavors of garlic. So about the 1 to 2 millimeter of the garlic slices, and other materials we also do cut into slices. First, we cut the ginger into sheet, and we cut into slices. Now we got the rumabust ginger. Yes, we first cut into rumabust shape, and then we continue to cut. We will get perfect slices. It will look beautifully. It is green onion. What we need to cut is button head. In Chinese cooking, we usually separate into the two pieces. First is the white part and the green part. The leaves green part will put after the cooking, but the white part we can put into the hot oil. So in our cook, we first use the white part. And about the green part, when the cooking dishes will ready to take out to the plated, we add the green part. Okay, this is the onions white part.
The pepper, you can use the knife to cut it, and you can also use the scissors to cut it into long strips. Just like this, and you need to tilt it and direction so that you could cut a longer strips. Now I will show you how to cut it with the knife. We need to pay attention, and when we cut off the pepper, we need to remove the seeds inside the pepper. Later, I will teach you how to remove the seeds. So you need to cut it into, you need to tilt it the red pepper so that you can cut it into longer strips. So if we cut it directly, it's a lot shorter. So you can compare the two. So now when you watch it, it looks prettier and it's longer. So it would have a stronger flavor and it will taste spicy laterwards. When you cut it, you need to pay attention to hold the knife steady and don't cut your fingers. And you can also choose to cut it with the scissors. You can choose the tools that is the most convenient for you. When we're done, we need to spray and also toasted the dry red pepper just like this, and then we could separate the pepper seeds. Because the pepper seeds are heavier, so they will fall out naturally. So now we can get the pepper without the pepper seeds. And then you can get the clean and more prettier dried red pepper. And now the seasoning pepper is ready, and we're going to remove the seeds and put it into the dustbin. Now that the dry red pepper is done, now we're going to season the chicken legs or the drumsticks. The most difficult part in this process is to separate the bones within the chicken legs. That means we need to know the joints of the chicken meat. This part of meat, it can separate it into two parts, and the linking part is over here where I'm pointed right now. So if we want to get the meat carefully and quickly, we need to know the joints and muscles of the chicken leg. So when we can feel that with our hands. We can use the tip of the knife to separate the bones over here. That's the first step. And the second step, you need to use the tip of the knife to cut it over here. It's about 90 degrees. The angle is about 90 degrees, and then you can cut the meat. So now you can see the bones over here. See, after 2 steps, you can already see the bones of the chicken leg. So now we've been able to follow the position of the bones in the chicken and then cut the chicken leg. The second step is to flip the chicken leg. And then you use 2 fingers and then hold the chicken leg. So then you can separate the joint. The trick here is that the joint of the chicken is always connected with the muscles. So you need to cut off all of the muscles and tendons over here. Once you're done, it's easy for you to separate the bones. See? Just use the knife easily and now you can see the first bone of the chicken leg. And for the part of the chicken's thigh, you can see that there's a lot of muscles over here. So for this part, you need to break the tendons of the chicken, just like this. I'm showing you how to do this. When it's done, you are going to flip it. And then hold it in another direction and press the bone slightly. And then use your strings and pull the legs in the reverse direction. See? And then now you can get the 2 bones. The last step is for us to do is to cut off the muscles and tendons on the joint of the chicken legs. And now you cut the extra and bone part of the chicken leg. And when you're done cutting, you need to do a fuller examine to see whether there's any other bones or not. Okay, now it's done. Now we're going to use the same method to cut off and separate the bones of another chicken leg. Okay, so the first step is still use the tip of the knife and then based on the position of the bones to cut the chicken leg so you can see the bones right now. And the second step is to flip the chicken leg and cut off its muscles and tendons. Hold the joints of the chickens and then use the knife to separate the meat and the bone. And now we're going to do the second bone. You use the knife to separate the bone and flip it again so that you need to use the knife and pull this chicken leg in reverse direction. And the last step is to cut off all of the muscles and tendons and the joint of the chicken leg. See, now it's all neat and steady. And you cut the extra joint of the chicken. So then re-examine the chicken meat to see whether there's extra bones or not. If there is extra bones, you need to remove it too. Now that's the processed chicken leg. When you look at it, you can see that when we remove the bones, part of the meat over here is quite thin, right? In the same spot, the meat is thin and the other parts are thick. So when we are cooking it, it will be cooked unevenly. So to avoid this situation, we need to use the knife and cut across in the meat so that the meat could be heated evenly. So we can do it like this. I will show you. You shouldn't cut it straightly to the end. We're going to use slight force and strength to pat it, and use the same method and you can repeat it again. By doing so, we're making sure that the chicken meat can be heated and cooked evenly. So it's almost like a web. So you can see that at this point, this chicken leg is almost like it will be cooked properly. And the thickness of the meat is relatively the same. The next step for you is to cut the meat. The size of the meat is around my index finger over here. You shouldn't cut it into a longer pieces. So for this step, it's almost like dicing the chicken meat. But we need to make sure that the chicken meat is cut evenly. Almost around the same length of your index finger. And then we need to find a container to hold the chicken meat. Now we're going to do the same thing with the second chicken leg. So still cut it into the size of your index finger. Try to cut it evenly so that you could cook the meat properly and make sure that every piece of the meat is properly cooked.
Now we still use the flour cutting ways to deal with the chicken meat. First, we use the straight cutting and slashing. Cut is like a fishing net. Now we cut it into thick slices chicken meat. We look at the meat. The length and the size should be same. Now we use the same ways to cut off the chicken meat. Now we can look at the thin slices. They look same. Okay, continue to cut. Now we finish the cutting of the meat. Now we do the seasoning and the marinating. Now first we need to filter the tea leaves. Now and then soaking the chicken meat into the tea liquid. Okay, put the chicken meat into the bowl. Now we can see the tea leaves. They absorb the water perfectly. Now we pour the tea leaf soup into the chicken. Pour into the bowl. We can smell the strong scent of the 铁观音. We can look. Put the chicken meat into the tea soup. Use tea soup to marinate the chicken meat. And put aside for the later use. And the chicken bone we can save and to cook some soup. Now we can see. Let the chicken meat into the tea soup. Observe the tea scent perfectly. We better to put it to the cold conditioners to perfectly condiment it. Now we use the kitchen paper. Absorb the extra tea soup. Now we put the marinated chicken meat into the new bowl. Take out the kitchen paper. Or use towels or other things. If it is clean, all the thing is okay. Okay, now we'll use the kitchen paper. Put the paper on the top of chicken. Absorb the needless tea soup. If there remains too much water and soup on the kitchen meat, when we fry the meat, it will have many dangerous bomb. So we need to control the water and the soup on the kitchen meat. Okay, now we can see absorb the needless water and soup. Okay, finish. We put the kitchen meat back into bowl. Now we start to season the kitchen meat. First, put some salt, some pepper powder, and scratch starch into it. Is cornstarch and egg. Egg yolk put into the kitchen chicken meat. Blend it well. Add some soy sauce. Don't pour too much. And a little oyster sauce. Continue to blend. And put some 铁观音 tea wine into it. After
放了铁观音酒以后，它的香气是非常之充分的。
we add 铁观音 tea wine, we can smell strong and enough scent. Okay. After blend well, we still need to keep marinating, and we add some oil on the top. We can separate the meat from the air and let it perfectly marinate.